What's up guys, Commander Alex here, and today we're going to be talking about Petal and her changes in 1.6. Now 1.6, Petal was made a lot more viable due to some changes to her minions and her seeds and her spontaneous combustion. Now we're going to go over those changes, then I'm going to talk to you guys about some good builds with Petal and really just how she's become a lot more effective in the new meta. So let's hop into things. First, let's look at what was changed about Petal. Her minions are now smart enough to pursue enemies who leave vision. Her existing pets will level up when Yay Pets is leveled up. Pets attack 50% faster. Pets are much more responsive when chasing, and Petal Pets damage have been brought down from 20 to 95 plus 45% crystal ratio to 12 to 62 plus 35% crystal ratio. And the cool thing about this is that her rough DPS is about the same, but her crystal ratio DPS is now about 16% higher, which is not a major buff, but it is a small little buff to her minions, meaning that they actually do more damage per second. Also, her seeds now have a 1.2 vision range, and even though it's pretty small, it's actually not that bad because melee characters can only destroy them by getting up close and personal, meaning that they're almost sure to be seen, and if you line them up in like a bush, it's hard for ranged characters to actually kill them without having vision of them. Also, the seeds now grant an aura that grants shield and armor rather than just armor like they used to, so a nice little buff there. The only actual nerf that was added to Petal in this patch was that her spontaneous combustion damage has been brought down from 245, 350, 455 to 215, 310, 405. So a slight little buff there, but really overall not that big of a buff, and or not that big of a nerf, and compared to all of the buffs that she's received, really just not that significant. Now let's move on to how you should build Petal. First off, there's a couple ways that you can go with Petal. You can obviously go with the classic weapon power Petal, but I feel that that's not really as strong in this patch, seeing as all the buffs were actually pointed towards her minions, which have a crystal ratio and not a weapon power ratio. So personally, I like going for a crystal power build. Some really good items on Petal are an alternating current, meaning that her auto attacks are still relevant even though she's got crystal power. A Frostburn, meaning that her minions can actually stick on someone pretty easily, and even if she's not that fast, they'll be able to keep that person nice and slow and make sure that they don't get away. And Eve of Harvest, meaning that she can heal up from afar without taking damage. She can get a lot of health back, and that's really just a nice thing when it comes to if you're low health, you can cut someone away with that. And combined with the Frostburn, it means that you're almost impossible to catch and kill. And then finally, I like going for a Broken Myth and Shatterglass. Obviously, if you're getting honed really hard, they're just beating the crap out of you, you might want to choose between either Broken Myth or Shatterglass. But if you have the ability to go for both, the extra passive of the Broken Myth, which amplifies your crystal ratio overall, means that you're going to be hitting like an absolute freight train when you have the Shatterglass combined with the Broken Myth. Now finally, I also like going for boots and a crucible. The crucible is optional if you're getting beat, but the boots are pretty much necessary all the time because you always want to be able to kite with Petal. Even if you're going crystal power, you have that alternating current on your minions, and combine that with the Frostburn, you can actually end up slowing someone, walking away, auto-attacking, getting your minions to attack a person, and then walking away a little bit more. So that's kind of the general build that I have. Obviously, there's some variations that you can go for. If you're seeing that people are just absolutely going for a ton of shielding, you might want to rush that Broken Myth before you get some of your other items. Generally, I like going for my Eve of Harvest first, but if you're also having kind of that situation where you're not being hurt at all, you might want to go for the Frostburn so that you can kite people really easily and you can stop people fleeing really easily. Other than that, I don't have a lot to say about builds with Petal. Obviously, I feel like CP is strongest, but really your build depends on your playstyle, and I think that for each and every person it's going to be slightly different. These are just some items that I feel are very strong in her in this patch. When it comes to gameplay tips, I have about 6 different really useful mechanics that you can actually use when fighting inside of a game to really make yourself a lot more viable of a teammate. First, in lane, use your seeds in pods so that you can actually get a little station where you can go back, retreat to, and get a lot of healing, and then go back out and continue your last hitting. So the cool thing about that is that you're basically never going to get pushed out of lane when you have Petal in lane, and if you have your healing pod set up correctly, your junglers can actually come up as well and get a nice little heal off of that. Also, when you're roaming down from your lane to go shop in the jungle shop, you should actually drop some seeds in that shopping area just because that means that your junglers are going to be able to heal up when they're shopping as well, which is a nice thing as well. And then finally, in lane, also keep your pods in the bushes. I call them pods because it's really like a seed pod, if you will. And if you keep them in bushes, it means that your enemy jungler is not going to be able to poke them and destroy them as easily as if they were in the open. Obviously, if you have like a Celeste or a Scarf on the other team, it's going to be really hard to keep those alive. You might just want to keep them behind your turret. But if you have like a Ringo or something, just keep him in the bush, and the Ringo won't be able to see him, and it's pretty unlikely that he'll be able to destroy them and get that extra gold. And that's another mechanic I want to bring up, is that when you're in the lane, having your Munions and your seeds out in the open, if the enemy team actually ends up killing a lot of them, they're going to get a slight gold advantage off of that, and you should keep that in mind. So try to only use your Munions when you're actually going for the enemy hero, and try to only keep your seeds in bushes and places where they can't actually be destroyed super easily, because you don't want to give your enemy laner an advantage that they shouldn't have. And then finally, in the lane, use your range to your advantage. You have a super long range, I believe the longest in the game, and you need to use that to your advantage. Poke the enemy laner whenever you get a chance, and once you get your alternating current and some other crystal items, you're going to be hitting like a Mack truck when you poke them. Always poke when you have your alternating current proc up, because that means that you're actually going to hit a lot harder than if you were just hitting with your normal auto attack damage. In the jungle, you actually should be using your vision on creeps. Obviously, since your seeds now give vision, instead of dropping I guess it would be a mine underneath a creep, you can actually just walk into the jungle, go up to a minion, and drop a seed beneath them, and for 2 minutes, the lifespan of all seeds, you're actually going to get some vision underneath that minion, which is really cool, so you can kind of tell when your different jungle creeps are up and if you're being invaded or having your camp stolen. So that's a really nice feature that Petal brings to the jungle, and it's a lot of utility, I guess you could call it. Also, when you're team fighting late into the game, try and pick team fights on top of your seeds, because they give you extra armor, extra shielding, and extra healing, meaning that even if you're slightly behind, you're more likely to win that fight because your entire team is going to get some nice stats. And then finally, tank with your Munions/seeds in the jungle. You can also do this in the lane if you're trying to stall the wave, but really what I'm talking about is you can drop a seed, aggro the jungle creep, and then you can walk away, and as long as the seed is within the leash range of that jungle creep, they're actually going to walk over to your seed and continue to hit your seed rather than you. So your seed takes all the damage, you get the gold, and you don't take any damage in return. So especially for a really, really squishy jungler like Petal, it's really, really useful if you don't have a tank on your team and you're trying to get through your jungle on your first or second wave clear. So that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscription, and be sure to tell me what you think is the best tip you have from Petal. Have I mentioned it in this video? Is there something else that you know about Petal that I don't? Be sure to tell me down below in the comments, and I will be sure to respond. It's Commander Alex right here signing off, and honestly, I have just absolutely butchered this outro. So I'm just going to leave. See you guys. Become a lieutenant today. Talk to you next time.